I guess, in a way, life is being on the road to Golgotha. Golgotha, we are told, translates to the place of the skull. Gotha. This is where you get Gothic and all that. It's the place of the skull. It's the mind. That's why, and there are 3 crosses at Golgotha. So the heavens, or the universe, is the mind. We are in the mind of God. The 3 crosses. So we've got 3 crosses in our head too, because we have a zodiac in our head, in our body. Everything is based on this triune cross, these 3 crosses. My life it's been one amazing adventure. I never thought I would be an astrologer. I've said this so many times. Just a few years ago, even 5 years ago, I would have laughed you into the ground. Because my YouTube channel, I understood the connections, that astrology was there to tell us something, but I never dreamt I would be an astrologer. I didn't believe in tropical astrology as presented to us via the newspapers and all the prognostication. Because to me, you can prognosticate the future with astrology, but you better be damn good at calculating in the variables. We can see the big events, but the little nuances of how they play out, that's all. It's so encoded and variable that it's a repeating cycle, but it changes a little each time we go. I've used Cloud Atlas so many times, and how people say we're repeating the same story and we reincarnate and we're doing it again and again and again, and it's all in our mind. Road to Golgotha. Because language is my thing, not astrology, not numbers, not anything else. First and foremost, my whole life it's been about communication. And that's a very Mercurian thing. Mercury rules communications. So Golgotha means the place of the skull. That's how it's translated to us. Gotha meaning skull, and Gaul meaning place. Now, in alchemical linguistics, some of these letters can be changed around. The G can be swapped for the K or the KH, and then we can swap the K for the C, right? So you can have Coalgate, the TH can be T or D, but it all meaning the place of the skull. And at Golgotha there are 3 crosses. In the heavens there are 3 crosses. In alchemy you have the 3 pillars. In Kabbalah you have the 3 pillars. In the Native American tradition there are 3 pillars. They're not 3 pillars, they call them 3 sticks. 3 sticks. On the Choctaw Reservation in Oklahoma, there's a place called Big Cedar. And it's at the top of this mountain. And when you climb up to the top, you see these 3 sticks. And they call it 3 sticks. And my family members, hello Brenda, I know you're watching this. And Chris too, if you're watching. Brenda has always known that when the time comes, we all meet at 3 sticks and we go to Hanobia. And I know that too, because that's where we're all going. Now, what this Golgotha is it's the mind. It's the mind of God. Gotha being the place where is the skull, right? It means the skull, the head. That's why you see the Masons. They're into drinking out of skulls and worshiping the skulls, and they have Geronimo's skull and all kind of stuff. But it's connection is the zodiac. That's why I believe we are just thoughts in the mind of God. Because when you linguistically break all this down, I don't care what language you do it from. It's all telling you the same story. I don't care what science or topic you do it from, whether it's astrology, alchemy, the Kabbalah, religion. They're all telling us the same thing. And they're telling us about Golgotha. They're telling us about the place of the skull, which is your mind. And in the heavens, there are 3 crosses. So that is the mind of God, or the collective mind. Either way you want to look at it. We're part of it. We're it, and it's us. We're those stars out there. And we are projected down here. To project is a project. It's the same thing. You eject, project, subject. So, we're just these thoughts in the mind of God. That's all we are. Just a thought. And that's how manifestation happens. Manifestation happens with a thought or an idea in the mind, in the skull, at Golgotha. And then you think about it, then you can speak it and bring it into the physical world. You can write it down and bring it to the physical world. You can carve it, paint it, engrave it, design it, engineer it, and all of these steps to manifesting it into the physical world. Excuse me. I've got the burps or hiccups, one of the two. Seems like that's been happening a lot to me lately. I don't talk a lot unless I'm doing a video. I did when I was on the phone sales, but it seems when I start talking lately, it's giving me hiccups. We'll just work through this. So, my life all of our lives are a journey, or we're on the road to Golgotha. Every single one of us. From my perspective or my understanding, because I remember before I was born into this body, I remember coming into the body, and I have forgotten nothing about being in this body. I don't have the option of selective memory in my life. It's all there. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes it might take me a few days to bring the memory recall to surface so I can observe it, but otherwise I know it's all in there and that we lose nothing. And I want to tell you about my road to Golgotha, because all of this really started for me 4 years ago at this very time, this very week. Actually, it started the Christmas before then, but it culminated up to my entire life changing and me moving from Alabama to California. And I landed in Las Cruces with another YouTuber. And Las Cruces is the crosses, or those crosses. And when I was there, the Pope showed up in El Paso, which is, I got out of the car I was in. I had hired a ride to take me to California. And the guy was an alcoholic, drunk, on pills, and about halfway through the trip of me having to drive, and we start going through Texas into just through the desert in Texas, you start hitting roadblocks, right? Immigration. And I realized the tags are expired and there's no insurance on this vehicle. He's passed out drunk and on pills. And all he's worried about is getting to the next destination so he can get some more drugs. So I'd had enough of it. And we are on I-10 in El Paso. And that's called Gateway Boulevard. And El Paso and Las Cruces are the gateway. You have the Gateway East and the Gateway West. I was on Gateway West Boulevard. And I literally told him I want out of the car now. He was on the phone making another drug deal in Juarez or somewhere, I don't know. And I refused. I said, no, I'm not doing this. And I'm literally, it's 5 o'clock traffic in El Paso, and he's refusing to pull over. So I'm just opening the door, and me and my dog's fixing to get out right here in the middle of I-10. I don't have nothing else to lose. But I ain't fixing to lose my life or go to jail over some damn drug deal and being in this car with no light. He don't have a license. He don't have tags. He don't have insurance. And I know he's holding. And God knows what else is in that car. So me and Kelly are getting out. Finally, he realizes I'm drawing attention, and the cops are going to come if I get out of that car. So I convince him to pull over, and I get me a hotel room for the night. And I got on YouTube and had my subs track down another YouTuber that lived in Las Cruces. So I ended up in Las Cruces, which is Golgotha, on the gateway to the west. And it all started to make sense. I really started understanding. Understand, at this point, I'm not an astrologer. I'm making the connection between alchemy and astrology, and I'm putting that on my channel. I've made the connection linguistically through language and through the Arabic connected to the Greek. But all of this has not played out for me yet. I'm actually living it. So I'm really paying attention to my surroundings, the words, the names, everything. The alchemical nuances of it all. So the next thing I know, I'm an astrologer. And a damn good one. I wouldn't be doing it if it didn't make sense to me. If I didn't believe it, matter of fact, I don't believe it, because belief is a word that still implies there's no evidence, right? That's like faith. Blind faith is belief. I knew. Not only am I finding it like a treasure hunt, but it is my life, my whole life. When I finally got around to understanding alchemy was connected to astrology and really looked at my own chart, I realized I was supposed to be doing this all along. I was always supposed to be an astrologer. My heart was in it. But I didn't believe it, because all I had ever been shown was tropical astrology. And to me, it was hocus pocus, bogus. There was nothing real about it. But when you learn alchemy, and that alchemy is the science of nature, and when you understand that nature is mind, nature is consciousness itself. Without nature, all of this matter would be inanimate. It would just be rock, dirt, sand. It would be nothing. Without mind projecting it, it would just cease to exist. That's what this place is. We built this place. It's us. When you look up into the heavens, you're looking inside the collective mind. We call that God, our supreme being, our source. It's all in all. And out there somewhere is a star that has our real name. And we're just a light projected down here into these bodies. I know this. I can't prove it to you, but I need no proof. I've lived it. I remember it. I remember being like little stars, fireflies in this collective, and we were just light bodies. We didn't have bodies, but we had consciousness. We had memory. We could communicate with each other. It was all love. There was no separation. There was no fear. There was no anger. There was no jealousy, no competition. We shared memories. We had literally a 360-degree view of what you call the universe. And I'd been there obviously a long time because I had seen what you call stars being born and die. But that's not actually what they do, because in all actuality, there's no such thing as death. There isn't. If anything is death, it's what we call life, because I was more alive there. And when I have out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences, they're more real than here. So, to me, coming into the body is like coming into death. It is death. We are death incarnate. That's what we are. We're at the carnal veil. And we're all on one of those rides. And those rides in the carnival associate with the houses of the zodiac. And they can be fun. But in this age, they're all projected as a scam. If you go there for entertainment purposes, you'll have a good time. But if you go there expecting too much, too worried about your money and being ripped off, then you're not going to have any fun and it's all going to be a waste. Or you go with an attitude. And the same is for life. It's the same thing. You need to realize you're at the carnival. And you can spend all your time making money, or you can spend all your money making time. Have a good time while you're here, people. I went for so long that I felt like I was up on the bumper cars, just running into everybody, getting whiplash, going nowhere, just going in circles and keep running into the same people over and over again. And you got to learn to get off that ride and get on the other rides. Eventually, you're going to have to go through them all, so you might as well go. Some of them can be scary as hell. The House of Horrors, House of Mirrors, the Freaks, whatever. But we must do it. Now, I call it turning the page. That's what I call it. Hold on, let me see if I can find that. Sometimes we just got to turn the page. From Little Buddha, your last chapter isn't the end of your story. Turn the page and start a new one. You know, a lot of us go through life, like me being on those bumper cars, just living the same page over and over again in your life, like freaking Groundhog Day. Well, it's time to turn the page and start a new chapter. Instead of reliving the same thing over and over and over again. And that requires courage. Another thing about Aquarius is it's the parkour age. And that parkour, alchemically, means the house of courage. So it's the age of courage. It's the Kur age. It's the parkour age. And so you gotta take that chance. Because indeed, this is a carnal veil. The veil is the carnal mind. Your mind is divided. It's divided into those 12 zodiacs, those 3 crosses, those 4 elements. And you are the 5th element, your consciousness, your will, your heart. The heart has a mind of its own that is separate from the mind in your brain. It has a mind of its own. You're more connected to the mind of your heart if you're spiritual. If you're in deep, what I call entrenched in deep matter of the body and life, then you're more connected to the mind in your head, or the carnal mind, which actually is below the belt. The carnal mind is below the belt. It's very sexual. It's very connected to the body. It's more into pleasure, the pleasing of oneself. Myself, I find more pleasure in pleasing others. Not very much here pleases me. I'm not entertained easily. I'm not amused easily. I went through years of just being at a point of just disdain with it all. So I'm not impressed much. Very few things impress me. So I have a tendency to stagnate and have to shake them up, wake them up, and turn that page myself. And that's what I'm doing. I had no idea I'd be an astrologer. That was just, that would have been a bet I would have lost. I never saw it coming. Now I can't see anything else in my future, but I am beginning to see my future. And I know I have been dragging my feet, and I know I should have been out of Las Vegas a long time ago. But I know I came here for a reason. And I'm a person that I'll stay extra at a job or in a classroom till I'm not going to leave a class until I understand the subject, that I'm satisfied with the knowledge I've got. And I'll never leave a job half finished. I'll stay over at work to make sure it's done right and take a loss on hours if I have to. But I'll never leave early. And I'm always the last one out the door. And I did that in school. In school, I was always top of my class, teacher's pet, which came with perks and privileges and rank. And so I was always told, lead them out, Hawkins. And I'd get up, open the door, and instead of walking out first, I'd hold the door and make them go. And I was always the last one out the door. The teacher was trying to put me first, and I would automatically slide into last place. And I feel that's why I'm here. Why am I here? To make sure everyone gets through the door, that nobody is left behind. And now I know nobody is left behind, ever. You just keep recycling here until you eventually graduate with honors, no doubt. You want to graduate with honors. You don't want to just graduate. Some people do. Some people just want to graduate. It disturbs me that if you only knew most of your doctors, lawyers, these really big paying jobs, that most of them barely pass their classes. They just have a piece. That's why they practice. They're not proficients, they're practitioners. They have a medical practice, right? A doctor has a medical practice. So they're still practicing. They are not proficient. And I feel like the last 4 years of me on YouTube and doing others' charts that I was a practitioner. But now I have experience under my belt. And I am moving from practitioner to proficient. So things must change. Everything must change. Now, when it comes to that change, we're given choices, options, because there are variables. This is where free will and choice comes in. Destiny or fate is sealed in those 3 crosses. The heavens are moving into Aquarius, which is fixed. Another word for fixed is sealed. So we're moving out of a chaotic, mutable age into a fixed, sealed age. And we won't be going through all of this. We won't have the highs and the lows anymore. We won't have... It's going to take a lot of the fun out of it, because there's not going to be any mysteries in Aquarius. It's the age of knowing. It's the age of remembering. So do enjoy it while you can. You know, we bitch about being in school, but when you grow up and you get out of high school, everybody wants to go back. Really? I don't want to go back. I want there to be a hold brand new. I'm tired of the repeat and repeat myself. And that's all school was to me. They just kept repeating the same thing to us for 12 years. and expecting us to regurgitate it. And it tasted bad in my mouth then. So I enjoyed high school as far as the friendships go, the experiences of growing up, but the actual having to go in and sit in those classrooms day after day was learning the same thing over and over that you knew was bullshit really got to me. It's not something I would want to do again. I wouldn't want to relive my life again. It's been hard. And the one reason I think it's hard is because I'm stubborn. I give good advice, but I don't listen to my own advice. Like before all this began for me 4 years ago, this very week, my journey began from leaving Alabama, going to California, and my stop at the Three Crosses, Las Cruces. And the Pope showing up in El Paso. He's in the Eastern Gate, and I'm in the Western Gate at the Three Crosses. And he's at El Paso, means the pass, or the gate. He's at the gate. All of this had so much metaphorical meaning to me, and it still does. Because I've been looking for a place to live. I'm leaving Las Vegas. I'll throw this in here right quick. I'm not out of Las Vegas yet, but I got good news. Well, the last day I was in over at the townhouse, everybody was gone but me and Kelly. I had to put I just rented a storage room. I tried to sell, give away all that furniture I just bought. Nobody wanted it, and I don't know what I'm going to do, so I put it in storage. And the last day the power was out. That my roommate's crazy sister had the power cut off on me and didn't tell me. So the last day we was in the dark. Now I could have gone down there and turned it on in my name and stayed there. But I knew I would never be able to hold down that place without a roommate. And roommates are hard to come by in Las Vegas. Unless college kids, right? And then they're temps. So I just threw everything in storage. Now, I went and bought me a vehicle. And that's the only reason I'm still in Las Vegas. I'll be here another few days. I got it insured. I went to get it registered. And I got everything expedited. I had to pay, I don't know, like $50 extra to get everything rushed and expedited. So I'm just waiting on the insurance card, the hard copy, and the title to the vehicle. They made me, even though I was leaving the state, they made me tag it. So I'm waiting on the title to come back, and I'm out of here. I bought a van. I went to Nevada Paralyzed Veterans. They have a charity here because there's a lot of retired people here. And when they die, they'll donate their vehicles, a lot of RVs, cars, stuff like that, to this place. And they sell them. And they sell them to the public, and then the Paralyzed Veterans of Nevada get the money. So I went over there, and then I got me a van. I got me a Honda Odyssey, and it's 15 years old. It's a 2005, but the dash looks like it just rolled off the showroom floor. Whoever owned this van took immaculate care of it. There wasn't a spot on the interior. They kept the paint up. Obviously, it was kept inside of a garage. And it was immaculate. And I got a really good deal on it. I put some tires on it, put some brakes on it, done all the fluids and everything. I got it insured, paid the insured for a few months in advance so I don't have to deal with that. So as soon as the title comes in the mail, I'm out of here. And, of course, the next question is, where am I going? Right now I'm in a cheap motel, no Wi-Fi, no internet. Of course, not big fees either. but it's kind of quiet here, so I'm happy with it. But I'm making this video. I'm actually got me a phone too, and I'm having problems. I got locked out of my Gmail, which locks me out of my YouTube channel. I got locked out of my PayPal. Everything come back on me, security device, and I didn't have everything set up. Well, I made myself a backup plan the last time this happened to me. And I have the lady at the library's phone on my Google account, so that when it goes down, they can send her the code. She gives it to me, and I verify. So I went to the post office to do that. And not the post office. I went to the post office in the library, and I got that done. That's my gig. I go post office first, then library. So I got all that done and got back in my accounts just a couple of days ago. And I tried to set me up a hotspot with my phone once I got it as a recognized device. And it's not doing very well. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm doing something wrong. But I'll figure that out. It might have something to do with my account. But in the meantime, I'm going to just do this video, and I need to talk to the librarian, so I'm going to go up there today and upload this for you guys. And hopefully, the next time I go to the post office, my title will be there in my insurance card. All I've got is the paper print-off copy, and then I'll be out of Nevada. I took this vehicle I just bought for a drive out into the desert. Everything works great on it. It drives so well. I couldn't be more pleased. And it being an odyssey as well, right? I'm going on an odyssey. And I can't wait. Unfortunately, when I keep looking for places to live, 3 places keep popping up. And one of them is Las Cruces. I've been going through Zillow, Trulia, websites like that, looking for rentals. I'm looking for something cheap and small. As long as it's clean and safe, I'm not looking for anything fancy. The cheaper, the better. Of course, I don't want to be stuck in some drug-infested neighborhood. And I do need access, or have availability access to high-speed internet. So, in the 3 places that keep coming up, 1, Golgotha, or Las Cruces, those crosses keep coming up. Clovis, New Mexico, and Grove, Oklahoma, Miami, Oklahoma. And those keep coming up repeatedly, the same 2 places. 3 Sticks in Oklahoma, 3 Crosses in New Mexico, and then Clovis. And Clovis has a special meaning to me. They call it Clovis Man, right? Clovis Man is the oldest man in North America. That's what they call it, Clovis Man. And to me, it's the word itself. It's an enclave. It's a clove. It's an enclave. It's the gathering. It's where people come together. So those 3 places keep coming up. I-40 and below, that I-40 area, to stay warm, at least for the next few months. And Las Cruces is going to be the warmest of those. It's even cold here in Las Vegas. It's been, I think it was 31 last night. It was closed. Kelly and I, before we came over here, I took the van out to the Navajo reservation, and we went to the Hoover Dam. I went to Laughlin and Bullhead City. I've actually drove over into Arizona. So I've put over 1,000 miles on this van, and I'm comfortable with the fact that I can take it anywhere and I'm going to be okay. The AC works, everything works. Everything works. It doesn't have a luxury package on it, which is good, but there's plenty of room for me and Kelly and our stuff. And so I'm really pleased about it. And especially of those who sent me gifts on Christmas and my birthday. that really is what made all this possible. And 3 of you especially. I don't usually call people out, but in this case I need to. It's deserved. And that's, I hope I get this name right, ESPN, Samantha, and especially Susan. Thank you, Susan. From the depths of my being, thank you. I wouldn't be doing this right. This wouldn't be possible if you 3 hadn't reached out to me. And this is getting done. I am on my way. Kelly's excited and happy. She loves to travel, so I just got to say the magic word. I can't say it now or she'll freak. And off we go. I've tried going through some of my emails when I finally got back into my account. And, oh my God, I just want to cry. There's every time I go back, it's just double and double. And I can't keep up with it all. And I really don't know what to do about it. There's just not enough hours in the day. I don't have enough time. And this little phone, trying to read those emails on that thing, and I'm getting old. And I went and got me a pair of readers. But for them to sit there and to just go through these emails, and some of them are just pages long, it's giving me headaches again. And I just went through the headache thing and what happened with the blood clot and all that, and I don't want that to happen again. So y'all are going to have to bear with me. I'm getting old and I can't just sit for hours on end reading all these emails. I have to have breaks in between. And so please, if it's not necessary, hold off till I get settled. Hopefully that's coming in the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure which direction. I have the direction I want to go in, but I also want to go where I'm supposed to be or where I'm needed. Everybody wants to be needed. So, yeah, but for the time being, in my case, it's going to have to stay warm, and I need to rest and collect myself. It's been crazy the last 4 years. And I feel like finally I've made it to 2020 and now the crazy ends. And that's what I thought. But when 2020 hit, it was like, holy shit. It's like 4 years ago happening all over again. And I don't want to be put in that crazy situation. So I'm trying to go with the program instead of buck it like I usually do. And unfortunately, Las Cruces wouldn't have been one of my picks. It just wouldn't. I wouldn't even say Clovis wouldn't have been one of my picks. I would have been more to the other side, more of the Aztec side, Farmington Aztec, than Clovis. The other side of New Mexico. And but Oklahoma, that's, my heart's always been there. From a little girl. I ran away one time and went to stay with my aunt and my cousin there, and at their house in a place called Tallahena, Oklahoma. And I knew I belonged there. I just did. Moved back a couple of times. Took my son there. Put him through like 4 or 5 years of schooling there. And then everything fell apart again. And matter of fact, my leaving Oklahoma the last time is what catapulted me into my YouTube channel. That catapulted me into astrology. Catapult, funny word. That comes out of the first line of Genesis. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth became void. Catapult, overthrow. It's called tuhu vuhu in the Hebrew. The overthrow, the catapult. That's what, and it's in Genesis. It's a new beginning. So that's where I am. I'm at my own Genesis moment. I have decided to turn the page and start a new chapter in a new place with a new beginning and maybe a new channel. I know I'm going to have a new channel on BitChute. I'm moving over there. I keep getting shit from Google and YouTube, all these new terms and rules, and it seems like every other day there's a Google alert about your channel. And yeah, I see them when they pop up. I've got the new pop-up notification going. So now I'm seeing when new stuff comes in. I didn't have that before. So now when I do get, I guess, a comment or a update or an email, I'm getting alerts now. So I do have access to what's coming in new. But I'm still sitting on all the old I'm not able to do anything with until I get moved and settled. And I know a lot of you just want to cry over your charts. I'm trying to get this hotspot going while I'm here to do that. But unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be here for a couple more days. They told me 10 days. And that's like, I've had the van a week. So I'm looking at 3 to 4 days. So at latest by Monday, I'm leaving Las Vegas by Monday. That's the plan. And I want to go somewhere warm. I'm tired of the cold. It hurts. The cold is painful to me. I deal with enough pain. I can sweat all day long and it don't hurt me at all. But the cold hurts me through to my bones. Once my bones get cold, it's hard to get me warm. So I'd rather sweat. I don't have a problem with it. On the Navajo reservation this week, I got invited to a ceremony. And it's not now. It's in a couple of weeks. So if I'm still around this neck of the woods, pop over into Arizona onto the Navajo reservation and go to this ceremony. It's private, and I was invited, and I'll let you know about it if that happens. Otherwise, I guess New Mexico or Arizona's the first on the list, because you got to kind of go through there, don't you? So Arizona is my first stop. If I take I-40, that's going to put me in Flagstaff, which is cold, high elevation there. I remember the first time I was in Flagstaff, I was 17 years old. A friend of mine from Philadelphia, we were in Philadelphia, and we're headed to California, and we're driving in her car, and we're taking turns. One sleeps, one drives. And this is summertime. We're in tank top, tube tops, shorts, and flip-flops. And it's my turn to sleep. And I wake up. It's in the middle of the night. We're in Flagstaff, and there's snow on the ground. And I'm freezing my ass off, because we were not prepared for that. Very young. So, yeah, I've had my experiences with cold there. But then there's Sedona, right? I would love to live in Sedona, but unfortunately, that's one of the most expensive places to live. And a lot of the people are, it reminds me of being on occult.biz. When I first started occult.biz, back in the early 2001, 2002, it was fantastic. Man, you could go through all these ancient manuscripts, German and French and Hebrew and Greek, and it was incredible at you had all of the alchemy and all of the religions and traditions from all over the world. And it's like every lodge on the planet were posting their real shit. And I was eating it up. Man, I was going to town on it. And then the New Age came in, and they started taking over, and they ruined it. You can't go there. As a matter of fact, they destroyed it. It don't even exist anymore. They destroyed it. So occult.biz is no longer there, and I hate that. But I feel that way about Sedona. Sedona started out with the right people, and now it's so new agey and rich new agey that it ain't all that anymore. It got hijacked, just like everything else. This new age thing, it comes in, it's hijacked the feminist movement and made them toxic as all get out. It hijacks every movement that comes along, whether it's on the left or the right, and they politicize it. What they're doing actually is they are monetizing it. It becomes monetized, and then the advertising dollars get involved. That's the Liars Club. The advertisers are the Liars Club. And to me, that's really what's wrong with the world. If we would get rid of advertisers, if advertising was banned around the world, then we wouldn't be getting all the lies anymore. Products would actually be quality products because they would have to compete with who's the best, not who's telling the best lie, who's got the bigger commercial, who politicizes it. All this, it's fake woke. This is faux, I call it faux woke. And it's full of hate and separation. And it belittles. If you're not faux woke, then you're belittled. And no, all that's so fake and carnal, and it comes from the lower carnal mind. The lower carnal mind is ruled by emotion, Mars, and Jupiter, desire. You want to be ruled by the upper mind. Now we're in the age of the lower minds. The last two ages have been Mars in Aries, an emotional age, and Pisces, an age of groupthink and desire. All you got to do is want it. And they know that we're motivated by desire. So that's why the images and advertising are propagated upon us. Because they know what you don't know about you. And how you're attracted carnally and subconsciously to these symbols and colors. And they can twist them around and do whatever they want. They actually run social engineering programs with advertising. So to me, they're the bad guys. The advertiser is the adversary. He adds a verse. This is actually how my channel started, was because linguistically, and I hate advertising. I hate it so bad that if you add a product, then I'm not going to buy it because you added it. I don't want it. I don't want that product. I'll go generic every time to stay away from over-add products. If everybody did that, that's what is funding the woke thing, is advertising dollars. That's what's wrong with YouTube, is advertising dollars. That's where Google took over and messed us all up, because it's about the money now. It's about the money. If you watch the movie Branded, it's a 2012 movie, the Russian one. They came out with branded all over the place after that. So when you Google it, you don't find it. So you just put in, go into IMDb, put in Branded, and just put Russian beside it, or 2012, and that movie will pop up. And it's about advertising. And these entities, what I call the collective conscience, it empowers it. It empowers the dark side, literally. I need to get a drink of water. When you wear these symbols on your body, you empower that collective. Now, each age has its own ruler, its own religion, and really its own book. What we call the Old Testament in the Bible is a book for the age of Aries. Actually, it tells the story of leaving the age of Taurus, coming into the age of Aries, and that God is the God of the age of Aries, and then moving into the age of Pisces, and you get the New Testament. Now, the age of Aries God that gave us the 10 Commandments, he forbade any images of heaven and earth. And the only images that were allowed were of water and fire. And now we're in an age of, we were in an age of fire, now we're in an age of water. And Jupiter and Mars rule these two ages, and they work together. Let me get you up some imagery so you can see this better. Hold on. All right. These 3 ages. This god, in the age of fire, forbade any symbolism of heaven and earth. That means no symbols of Egypt, because Egypt was symbolism of earth, and the symbol of the fixed cross, and this is the cardinal cross. Actually, he is superior. Venus, the heart, and Mars, the emotion. But he's a jealous god, right? Jealousy is an emotion. Okay? So he's a very emotional god. He's a jealous god. He's an unstable god. Stable being fixed, right? He's not fixed. Cardinals, we can tend to blow our top and become unstable. So now we're moving from water into air. So our symbolism changes again. And they're heavily perverting the symbolism because they want it to fail. These 2 ages have teamed up. This is Europe and Asia. And they ruled a long time ago back here in Sagittarius and Scorpio. Jupiter, Mars. And now they're flipped. But they always work together, this battle of fire and ice. We're leaving that battle. We're leaving the game of thrones because they've all been fake kings. None of them. I know a lot of people hated the way Game of Thrones ended with the 3-eyed raven in control. But that tells you everything. And of course, these 2 ages are going to hate that. Now, what do you mean that the little 3-eyed raven's in charge? Because he can see the future. He knows. He knows. He's Aquarius. He's on the fixed cross. He's brand on. It's all in the language. They play these silly little word games with us, and they try to get us to catch on. I love Scrabble. When I need to clear my mind a lot, that's one of my go-to games. Is Scrabble. I'm really good at it. I like Boggle. What's the word game where they give you this long string and you're supposed to see the different words within the words? Yeah, I'm good at that too. But we got a lot going on. The battle of Jupiter and Saturn continues. Saturn and the Sun in Capricorn. Mercury on that fixed cross today. Venus is exalted. The heart is off the charts. It's a great time to fall in love. It really is. It's a great time to love, be loved, fall in love. Just lighthearted. Venus is very lighthearted here. She loves being in Pisces. Jupiter, I actually like Jupiter in Sagittarius better than anywhere. He's really Zeus here, but it's the illuminated mind. And it's better than Jupiter in water as Poseidon, a very destructive force. Water's very destructive here, to where this word fire from the Arabic, it is not fire, it's actually light, or the light in the mind. The light, it's the illuminated mind, is how Sagittarius would translate out. Not fire, but light. Same word. The moon in Gemini today, or this morning. Well, for the rest of the day it will be. Neptune should still be in Aquarius. So you have Mercury, logic and intelligence, coming into conjunction with Neptune over here in a few days. That is the imagination. Uranus, the conscious mind. To me, this is really the most important thing that we can do. And that's purify our minds while Uranus is in the age of purification, Aries. And this is fire, to where the fire, because it's cardinal fire. It's the fire of emotion, not the light in the mind, but the fire of emotion here. And to really get your emotions under control, you need to clean up your mind, right? You take control of your thoughts. Our emotions are beyond, we get emotional, out of control when you have to rely on the higher mind, mind over matter, because emotional things seem directly tied to matter in situations in the carnal world. When you're out of the body, before you were born and after you die, you could care less. You're not emotionally attached at all. And you realize that right away. Drowning in the pool and I'm watching my body struggle for its life. You know, if I was a person outside of the pool and I saw somebody drowning, I would become emotionally involved and want to jump in and save that person. But I could care less that my own body was drowning and struggling for its life and begging for air. And I didn't care. I was not invested in that emotionally at all. I was fascinated with the fact that I could breathe underwater and that I could feel the water, the density of it, but it wasn't wet. And I was fascinated with the fact that, hey, I'm drowning down there, but I have a body here just like that one. Same marks on my hands and everything. Yep, it's me. I'm here. And immediately, it was just like closed to me. I didn't want to save it. It was nothing. The body was nothing. And I still feel that way about it. But it's a painful thing. It's an emotional thing. The body is very connected to Mars and Jupiter. They're very much a part of the flesh. Jupiter representing the flesh, and Saturn representing the higher self, the spiritual world. The physical world, Jupiter; the spiritual world, Saturn. And Jupiter demonizes Saturn to no end. But you'll find that when we enter the age of Aquarius, that Saturn does not demonize Jupiter or Mars. For that matter, Mars is exalted in Jupiter's house. In Saturn's house of Capricorn. So we don't have that problem. But it's amazing how language and my whole life has led me here to finally accepting the fact that, yes, Livette, you're an astrologer whether you like it or not. But I want others to learn this. And there are others that are picking up on it, like Victoria Cotton and some of the others that are doing it. And if you'll just do it yourself, you'll get better at it in time too. You'll start to see the patterns. It'll start to make sense. And then you'll be able to see what's coming ahead. You'll be able to prognosticate and project into the future and know what's coming next. Like everybody's screaming, stock market crash, new money, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't happen until Uranus gets in Taurus. Then we get new money, a new system, a new way of accounting, a new way of getting things done on the financial. We have a gold standard. Right now we have a fiat currency, which is out of thin air, which is very Aquarian. I know y'all don't like that, but something out of nothing. The thin air part, because you think you're being ripped off. There's not a problem with money out of thin air. It's collecting interest on money that don't exist out of thin air. That's where the problem comes into being. And that's the difference between the dollar and Bitcoin. Both of them are created out of thin air. But you can never create any more Bitcoin. It's set. It's fixed. It's a fixed number. And you cannot collect interest on it. Well, you can. I actually collect interest on my Bitcoin. But you don't loan out for interest. You can save for interest. You leave your Bitcoin in one account, they'll give you interest payments on it. But it's the difference between that and the dollar, both being created out of thin air, is the dollar can be manipulated because we can always print more or create more digits. But Bitcoin is set. It's fixed. So the value is based on that number of how many Bitcoins were created in the beginning, which was, I think, 100 million Bitcoins is all that will ever exist. And then it's broken down into factors called Satoshi. And you have to have 100 million Satoshi to equal 1 Bitcoin. And then 100 million Bitcoin. So that's how it works. It's like the Bitcoin is the dollar, but the Satoshi is the penny. And no more will ever be created. There'll be no more pennies made, no more Satoshis, and no more Bitcoin. For all time, there's only a set number, and you can only fractionally break it down into smaller and smaller pieces. As it grows and becomes more valuable and the Satoshi moves up, then they will break the Satoshi, and a half Satoshi or a quarter Satoshi. And that's the way that it will increase, not by printing more of it, but by dividing it into smaller and smaller increments. That's the difference. Hope that made sense, and I don't know why I got into that other than don't worry about the new money coming until, well, if you're going to worry about it, don't worry about it. Do something about it now, because the change comes when Uranus moves into the age of Taurus in 2023-24. And then it's there for a few years. It'll be a slow progression when it gets here to culminate it out. But by the time Uranus gets into Gemini, the whole world will be under a new money standard, a new credit standard or something. And there's a war between the dollar, Jupiter, and cryptocurrency, Saturn. And of course, Jupiter has spent eons, Mars and Jupiter have spent eons demonizing Saturn and everything he stands for. Because they rule, Jupiter and Mars rule the carnal veil. This is their show. They're all carnies. They're all fleshly. They're all emotionally invested. And Mercury, wow, Mercury being on this upside down cross of Peter in this age, that's how Mercury becomes Loki, the trickster. And how it reminds me of the political system right now. It seems like everything the Democrats do to disrupt Trump is backfiring and only empowers him more. And they haven't caught on to that yet. Are they that stupid, that desperate, or that ignorant? Or are they just following the script as they were told? That's why you need to get off the two sides. You take the middle path, the straight and narrow. You don't lean to the left or the right. I had to register to vote to get a post office box. You have to have certain documents, a driver's license, and a lease to where you live, or a deed showing where you live. And in Las Vegas, they didn't have a lease. In a weekly, you don't get one. So they give you the option of passport or voter registration. So I got voter registration. It's quick and easy, and you can use it to get a post office box. So I registered as independent. That straight and narrow, right up. I'm not going to vote either way because I just don't. I don't want to contract into one side or the other. So I just am an observer. I'm an independent observer. And I have my opinions about both sides. And the no sides, the one in the middle. But nonetheless, I do have a voter registration here. And you know, that was one of my biggest mistakes in California, was to get the post office box, I voter registration. And when I did, they used that. When I moved to Nevada, I couldn't get public service here. No food stamps, no nothing. Nothing. No medical, no nothing. Because my account wouldn't close in California. And it was because the voter registration was still active, and I voted there. And I've never voted in my life. I've never walked into a voting booth, hall, whatever. But somebody was using where I signed up to vote for me to vote. So and it was tied to my case there. So they wouldn't release me for Nevada because I'm still voting in California. And I've never voted before. So that should tell you what all's going on. Even after I registered to vote here, for another year, I still couldn't get it done. And I couldn't get it done until the crap happened with the blood clot and me going down in the grocery store, because they knew that it was going to get expensive and they didn't want to flick that bill. So they went over the state's head to the federal level and shut down California so that I could activate here and they could get their money. And that's all that was about. Or it never got done. And I'd still be, I don't know, shadow voting California. I don't know how they do that. I know a lot of dead people and all kind of stuff are voting there. Animals, homeless people. Yeah, all kind of crazy. And it don't even make sense. Why are you going to run a voting scam in a state that's going to vote one way anyway? Why do that? It's like New York. Why spend all that money on the Democratic side when you know you've got it locked anyway? It just, there's something that just don't make sense about that to me. Of course, I don't spend too much time thinking about that either. Okay, what else do I want to talk about? Because it might be a week or two before I get another video up. Because I am everything that I'm taking with me is already packed. Once I get the title and the insurance card in my hand, we're literally, it's put Kelly in the van and let's drive away. And I have this feeling that I know where I'd like to go and I know where I want to go, but I have a feeling I'm fixing to end up in Las Cruces again. And that would not be my choice. I wouldn't do that. Been there, done that, right? Yep, not a nice place to be. It's not a bad place. There's some lovely people there. I have to say that. But I'm not sure. I'll just leave it at that. I'm not sure. But we'll see when we get there. I want to do the right thing for why I'm here. And if why I'm here in this life is to end up there, then I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to go there. But I'm still not sure. And I don't think I will be. How do you say it? Well, when I get there, I'll know I'm there. Is that right? Did I say that right? You'll know when you get there. Maybe that's it. You'll know when you get there. So we got Venus in water, Mercury in air, the Sun in earth, Saturn in earth, Jupiter in fire. Uranus in fire, Neptune in water, the moon in air, and Mars in water. So we got, I guess, more water power, air and water going on. You got Mars and Venus both in water. That's why it's a great time to fall in love, by the way. It's because Venus is exalted in Pisces. And then you have Mars. Here, Mars is make love, not war. Here, Mars is the hero. He's on the hero's journey. He's doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And instead of, I'm jealous and you're not going to have anything else. And no images of heaven and earth. And Mars is completely different in Aries than he is over here in water. And so you have your emotions, Mars in water, and you have Venus, the heart, in that transmutation stage in water. I'm telling you, it's a time to fall in love, people. Especially with Jupiter in his own house, Saturn in his own house, Mercury in air, aspecting the moon. I mean, today would be a great day to fall in love. I can see, with the moon being gone, but this same dynamic setup of Mars with Venus is still going to be playing out on Valentine's Day. Just coming up here, all this is going to be playing out. The same lineup. And what do we got? 8 days to Valentine's Day. And you know, it's not about Valentine's Day. It's about 9 months later, when you're born on Halloween. More people are born the last week in October because of Valentine's Day. More and more and more of them. Last week in October, first week in November. All right, I feel the lightheartedness of it all. When Venus went into Pisces, I felt it happen. And actually, I have Venus in Aquarius, so I'm more familiar with that. But that's a heavy burden, because Venus in Aquarius is you sacrifice your own heart, you sacrifice your own love for somebody else. It's the self-martyr. But you can feel the weight of that fixed cross come off, because she goes into exaltation here. She's exalted. She's opposite that damsel in distress. She's large and in charge. The heart is the go-to place right now. And especially with Mars there. It's just, you couldn't ask for a better setup right now. For somebody to fall in love and it be a good match. A good relationship. A lasting one. One based on heart and the emotions. Not based on finances or none of that. It's the real deal. It's the real deal. So if any of you are having any of those, and a lot of you, you're going to see just the opposite of relationships breaking down because you're with the wrong person. Yep, that happened to me too. You find yourself in a relationship you're not supposed to be in. Isn't that beautiful, the way they all line up like that? It's like your fingers, right? You have your index finger, you have your thumb, index finger, middle finger, the sun finger, and Mercury. It's perfect. That's the perfect layout. This would, from my perspective, it's the left hand, right? But it's mirrored, so it's the right hand of God. And you have Mars, the thumb, the index finger, the middle finger, the ring finger, and the pinky. And all in Fomalhaut, conjunct Fomalhaut with Venus exalted. It's beautiful. And then it's going to, as it moves through the year, it's going to change the variation, which brings us to the 2020 winter solstice Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, and we get this symbol. Live long and prosper. That's what I call it. This is the symbol that all of the rabbis use when they bring out the Torah, and they put the Torah down, and then they do this symbol with their hands right here. This is what they do. And you're going to have the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction with the Sun-Mercury conjunction and Mars off to the side. And it looks just like this. Right now we have the big hand in the sky, but it's moving from the hand right into this. And I call it the live long and prosper symbol, but this is the hand symbol that goes down in 2020 on the winter solstice. So this is a very exciting year. Very different from what's being presented on the television. I've actually watched some TV this week. That's all I've got here. They don't offer internet here, but they give us a few channels on the television. I guess like a basic cable. We don't got a box. We just got the wire. So yeah, I've watched a little television, and boy, it's been crazy to say the least. But when I look at the heavens and what the truth is, it's very different than what's being presented to us. So this is a great, and it's going to be chaotic, no doubt about it. Like I said, we're going to watch Saturn move in and out of Capricorn and Sagittarius, doing the retrograde this year with Jupiter and doing it, and it's going to cause earthquakes because of that mutable fire and cardinal earth positioning of those. So every time Saturn comes in and out of a Capricorn, earthquakes are going to go off the chart. And then when Mars moves into that play later in the year, where you have Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars all moving in and out of Capricorn, you're going to have some of the biggest earthquakes probably that we've ever recorded. So you can call that natural disaster if you want to, but it's definitely written in the heavens. And the old must come down to build the new. So the Jupiterian Empire must fall. The last two ages, which are Asia and Europe. Asia and Europe have to go into a serious decline for the heaven and earth to incline. One must decline. The scales are going to move to a more balanced position. So some are going to wake up to everlasting life, and some are going to wake up to condemnation. The heart's exalted right now. Use it to your advantage. Don't misuse it, because you'll find in the long run that you will end up in a disadvantage. But always do the right thing, especially where the heart's concerned. Remember, the heart has a mind of its own, and it doesn't think logically and intelligently. But Mercury's going to be moving in there with Venus, and unfortunately, or fortunately actually, logic and intelligence is debilitated there. So when Mercury moves on into, see if I can get this over there, while Mercury's here in the knowing, logic and intelligence in the knowing, love is safe. But when Mercury moves over here into Pisces with Venus, logic and intelligence is out the window because he's debilitated there. So you're taking a big chance falling in love then. Now is the perfect time. If you wait, then you're not going to be thinking straight, right? You might make a whimsical choice on the heart without thinking it through. Now you're in a position where you're going to think it through, and it's going to be clear. But everything's going to become distorted where logic is concerned when Mercury joins Venus in Pisces. So if the relationship doesn't start to play out by then that's when you need to be wary. Be wary here. Don't jump in both feet. Wait it out until Mercury has left Pisces, and just stall. Don't jump into anything quick unless you're jumping now. How long do we have till Mercury is in watch my thing here. Aquarius, okay. March the 7th, you're good to go. And by then, Venus is out anyway. So it actually, Mercury went retrograde back into Capricorn. So, no problem there. So we're headed into a Mercury retrograde, or we're in one now. Let's get this right here. Are we in one now? No. When does he go retrograde? Alright, on my daddy's birthday, the 16th, the crazy day in my family's life. 2 days after Valentine's Day, Mercury's going retrograde. So, love is good to go. And I actually don't even mind a retrograde in Aquarius. I can deal with that. Last year we had to deal with Mercury retrograde in Pisces, and it was excruciating. This year we don't have to do that. When he comes into Pisces, he's just going to walk straight through it. That's good news. I'm glad to see that. So we're coming up on a Mercury retrograde, and it's going to retrograde all the way back into Capricorn. Now that's what's freaking crazy. And it's calling Capricorn right here on 3/8. You can look over here to the constellation. Now, there is slight discrepancies here that I call the 3 degrees because Stellarium runs on sidereal astrology, not tropical astrology, but Stellarium picked up the 13th sign of Ophiuchus and reconfigured a few years ago, so they got New Age woke, and it's broke. So I stick with the alchemy. So to me, it's not here. That's too far over. It's about here. This star marks Deneb Algeti, marks Capricorn. I call it the 3 degrees. It's a 3rd degree burn is what it is. They burned us. As in a slight, good burn. That's what they did. Alright, I'm going to cut this here. I'll keep y'all updated. I'm fine. Everything's a go on my end. Just waiting on documentation, and I'm hitting the road. I'm happy with the vehicle I've got. Thanks everybody for the help. Everybody that made this possible. I'm going to leave my post office box. I have gone through and eliminated the post office box off of all of my videos on both channels. So it's no longer there. But I own the box for the next few months. And in case something's just floating in the mail, I'm going to leave it there. And I'll forward it and return their keys to them when I get where I'm going and get another post office box. Then I'll just forward everything. That way, nothing is lost. Even if you sent something now, I would eventually still get it. Alright, people. I love y'all crazy. You know that, don't you? I lost everything. My family. My son turned on me. My mother turned on me. My husband turned on me. Everybody turned on me. And you're my family now. Y'all are all I really have. And I understood when I first came into the body that they were not my soul group family. I think my dad was, but the rest of them were not. And he was an Aquarius. 2/16, the day of the Mercury retrograde, would have been his birthday. The men in my family are born on that day, and the women in my family die on that day. And I have officially outlived everybody in my family on my father's side. I've officially outlived them all. My dad he died about 10 days before he was to turn 56. And at that point, he had lived to be the oldest. They all lived maximum 55. And he made it right at the end of 55. And I've made it past it. So I've officially now outlived everybody on my father's side of the family that have that horrible kidney disease. And I have siblings behind me that I have 3 siblings left. And they all have it. And they'll all be dying soon. And I feel for their children, but they're prepared. This is something we've all known about for years. To me, the worst thing that ever happened to my siblings was they found out they had this disease. Because they died then. They gave up then. This was back in the 80s, in the Genome Project. I'd say about 1980, 81. And they all found out they had this disease and immediately broke down. I have one sister that went on Xanax at 17 and has eaten every I'm crazy pill on the market, all because she knows she's dying. Isn't that a terrible way to live? It's just horrible. She would have had a much happier life had she never known. You don't find you're born with this. It's genetic, but it doesn't manifest itself till you get in your 30s and you start losing kidney function, and then by 40 you're on dialysis, and then by 50 you're dead, and you don't qualify for a transplant, and it's painful. It is painful. Your kidneys tend to enlarge and put a lot of pressure on the lower back. And that's how my dad found out. He had a back injury. And when they were looking at the back injury, they said, "Oh my God, you're eat up with PKD. Your kidneys are failing." And he didn't know. His dad, you generally end up dying of strokes, aneurysms, because of the PKD and what it does to the body. And so, yeah, even my father died of a stroke. And I had mine this year, but I don't have the PKD. And I survived, but it was like it was in the ticket for me anyway. I believe that I was born with the PKD like the rest of them. But because I opened my third eye, I had healed my DNA as a child. And but it was still in the cards for me to have that stroke. So I did. Right in the middle of a grocery store. Thank God it was mild, and like the paramedic said, I'm lucky that it happened when and where it did, because even the doctors said that you're just damn lucky. It could have been most people, it would have brushed it off, and just a few hours later would have been dead, because there was a massive blood clot. They went in and actually removed that part of the vein. All right, people. I love y'all bunches. You're just everything to me. My channel, not my channel, but you guys. My channels come and go. I've been through several of them. But there's just a group of you that have just meant so much to me. And I miss my channel not being small. And that I could go through every email every day. I could answer every question. Back when I had a phone, I'd even talk to some of you sometimes. And now that it's so big, it's so out of control, and I'm like a small town girl in a big city, and I'm ready to go back to the small town. To me, even Las Cruces is a little bigger than what I would want. It's more or less just a part of El Paso, really. They're like twin cities. They're so close together. But yeah, I'm wanting to be out in the country, out in the middle of nowhere, find me a cheap little trailer or something, and just far enough out to where I can still get high-speed internet, and I'll be happy with that. And I want everybody else to be happy too. And one of the things, I've spent half of my life being miserable, hating this place and not wanting to be here. And it took me finding my cross, picking it up, and starting to carry it before I understood my purpose. And once I understood my purpose, now I'm satisfied with that answer, and I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be with all of you. And I hope to get to a place that you people can come visit me, and that I can have a base. And now that I've got a van, once I get a home base established, I can just take off, and me and Kelly can come visit you. Now, as I am in the process of getting wherever it is I'm going, I'll be stopping along the way, and I'm going to try to get rooms that have internet and all of that, and I'll try to let y'all know where I'm at. And if you're nearby when I stop, and like I said, I'll try to make it in convenient places for both of us, and I'll spend a few days there. When I stop, I'll try to spend 2 to 3 days in a place. That way, if y'all want to come visit, and when I head out and know what direction I'm actually heading in, I'll try to give you all a heads up. I'm going to try to get it to where I can put the phone on the dash and take y'all on the road trip with me. That's what I want to do. So I'm trying to get that done and figure this thing out. I'm smartphone ignorant. I've been without a phone for over 4 years now. So I'm just now getting back into it, okay? So bear with me on that. I'm hitting a learning curve here. And I'll let y'all know where I'm going to be and when I'm going to be. And I hope to see quite a few of you, actually. I know that I have a lot of subs in New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, Oklahoma. Y'all are just everywhere. And then when the weather warms up, more towards the later spring into the summer, I'm going to head up the West Coast. I've got quite a few stops in California, Oregon, Washington, and even I'm going to come back across the top because I have a lot of you in Wisconsin that I want to see as well. All right, people, y'all know what to do. Go find your cross, take it up, and follow the master. And you know, it is the rabbi that brings out the Torah, and he sets up and he does the hand sign of live long and prosper. Where's that at? Our live long and prosper. And the word rabbi is the same word as Fomalhaut. Thalam in the Arabic means teacher, and rabbi means teacher. Follow the teacher. He's the master. Teacher, master. Fomalhaut. Wherever it goes, its rising and its setting from your location will tell you everything. And then become a part of the flock of birds. It's like a seagull, right? Flock of seagulls. Become a part of the flock. Deneb al-Nahar. Al-Nar. That's the flock now. We move from a flock of sheep to we get our wings and become a flock of birds when you take up your cross and follow the Master himself.